Hello to all the amazing people out there. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Welcome to another lesson of English with Ashish. And today, guys, I'm going to teach you something that you probably do not know. A lot of people do not know. That is a dangling modifier. Alright, so we'll understand what is a dangling modifier. Before that, you have to understand what is a modifier. If you don't know that, we already have a lesson on that. You can check that out. So in this lesson, we'll understand what is a dangling modifier. Alright, and if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do that. Alright, I'm excited. Let's do this. Now, people, let us understand what is a dangling modifier. I said a lot of people do not know this. Let me tell you why. So a modifier is called dangling when it does not have the word or the words that it intends to modify, or it wants to modify, or it can logically modify. All right. So if a sentence has a dangling modifier, it will always miss the word or the words that the modifier intends to modify. So guys, imagine this dangling modifier as a doctor whose job is to treat patients, right? This is what a doctor does. But a doctor is in a room where he or she does not have any patients to treat. So the similar situation happens with a dangling modifier. If you have a dangling modifier in a sentence, that means the sentence does not have anything to be modified by the dangling modifier. The sentence misses the word or the words that the dangling modifier intends to modify, that wants to modify or can logically modify. All right. So this is what a dangling modifier is. Let me give you some examples to make you understand. Seeking an apology for my bad behavior, a letter was written to my teacher. So guys, in this example, we have a modifying phrase, a present participle phrase coming in the beginning of the sentence, seeking an apology for my bad behavior. And just after this phrase, we have the noun a letter. So seems like it is modifying the noun a letter. A letter is the one who's seeking an apology. But just think about the situation. Can a letter seek an apology? That's just comical, right? A letter is not the one who can seek an apology. And the teacher is also not the one who is seeking an apology. So the word or the words that this modifying phrase intends to modify is not there, all right? And that is why it is a dangling modifier, because the sentence does not have the word or the words that this modifying phrase wants to modify or can logically modify. So that is why it is a dangling modifier. Let's look at the second example. After writing the book, a movie is going to be made. Now again, the modifying phrase is after writing the book, all right, coming in the beginning of the sentence. And just after this, we have a noun, the subject of the main clause, a movie. All right, now you guys think, can a movie write something? Can a movie be writing a book? That is not possible, right? So this modifying phrase after writing the book is not modifying anything in the sentence. The sentence does not have the word or words that this modifying phrase can modify. So that is why we have a dangling modifier. That is why this phrase is a dangling modifier. It does not have anything to modify at all. So the doctor has nobody to treat. The doctor is just sitting alone, has no patient to see. All right. The third example. While talking over the phone, the train left. Now guys, again, by now you must have figured out what is the modifier here. While talking over the phone is our modifying phrase, present participle phrase working as a modifier. Now just after this modifying phrase coming the word the train. Now again, you guys think, can a train talk over the phone? Can a train simply talk? That is not possible. A train is not the one who can talk. So this modifier has nothing to modify in this sentence. Again, the doctor has no patient to see. The doctor has nobody to see. So that is why it is a dangling modifier, because this sentence has nothing to be modified by the dangling modifier, by the modifier, all right? There's nothing that this modifying phrase can logically modify, can possibly modify. So we just looked at these examples where we have dangling modifiers, all right? Now, let me tell you how to correct a sentence that has a dangling modifier. So there are two ways to correct it. Number one, you guys have to infuse a word or words close to the modifier that the modifier can logically modify. that it can possibly modify. All right. So in most of the cases, a sentence that has a dangling modifier will be a complex sentence starting with a present participle phrase, right? So just after the modifier, you have to use a word that can be modified by the modifier, that it can possibly modify. All right. This is the first way to do it. You have to change the participle phrase into a dependent clause starting with a subordinating conjunction. What do you guys have to do? You have to change the participle phrase into a dependent clause starting with a subordinating conjunction. All right, let's do it. Let's correct these sentences. Example number 1. Seeking an apology for my bad behavior, a letter was written to my teacher. I'm gonna infuse a word as the subject of this main clause that this modifying phrase can possibly modify, logically modify. So I'm gonna say seeking an apology for my bad behavior. Who's doing that? I. Seeking an apology for my bad behavior, I wrote a letter to my teacher. So I is the subject of this main clause and is the one who is seeking an apology for my bad behavior. All right, seeking an apology for my bad behavior, I wrote a letter to my teacher. So guys, when you have a complex sentence starting with a present participle phrase, the subject of the main clause is the one who performs the action in the participle phrase. All right. So here the subject of this main clause is I, and I is the one who is seeking an apology for his bad behavior. All right. So this is the first way to correct it. The second way to correct the sentence is to change this present participle phrase into a dependent clause starting with the subordinating conjunction. So something like that can be said. Because I was seeking an apology, a letter was written to my teacher. Because I was seeking an apology, a letter was written to my teacher. So now this sentence is starting with a subordinating conjunction because, and it has a subject I, it has a verb, right? And that is why it's a clause. So because I was seeking an apology, a letter was written to my teacher. Now it makes all the sense in the world. All right. So we have two types of clauses here, a dependent clause in the beginning of the sentence, and after that we have an independent clause. Let's correct the second example. After writing the book, a movie is going to be made. All right. So again, we have two ways to correct it. The number one way is after writing a book, I decided to make a movie. All right. So I infused a word that this modifying phrase can modify. After writing the book, I decided to make a movie, or after writing the book, he decided to make a movie, she decided to make a movie, Ronnie decided to make a movie, anybody that you want to put in place of the subject, all right? The subject of the main clause. The second way is to change this modifying phrase into a dependent clause. So I can say, after I am done writing the book, a movie is going to be made. So this present participle phrase is changed into a dependent clause after I am done writing the book. All right. So after is a subordinating conjunction. I is the subject. Am is the verb. Right. Now it's a dependent clause. Let's correct the third example. The number one way, we will infuse a word or some words that this modifying phrase can modify, and it will come just after this modifying phrase or as the subject of this main clause. So we can say, while talking over the phone, I missed the train. Or while talking over the phone, he missed the train, or she missed the train, or you missed the train, or anybody missed the train. All right. So the subject of the sentence now is I, and I is the one who was talking over the phone. So this phrase is now modifying the subject of the main clause. I missed the train. All right. So that is the first way to do it. The second way to do it is changing this phrase into a dependent clause. So we'll say, while I was talking over the phone, the train left. While I was talking over the phone, the train left. So again, these are the two ways that you can use to correct a sentence that has a dangling modifier. Now guys, understand most of the times a dangling modifier is a phrase. That too a present participle phrase most of the times. But it can be a word too. Let me give you an example. Demotivated, a suicide was committed. Demotivated, a suicide was committed. Now, guys, just think. Can a suicide be demotivated? Is a suicide a person? Suicide is not a person that can be demotivated. It's people that can be demotivated. A suicide cannot be demotivated. So this word demotivated coming in the beginning of the sentence is not modifying anything at all in this sentence. It has nothing to modify. and that is why it is a dangling modifier. Just a word, right? So what do we have to do? Simple. Demotivated, I committed a suicide, or Rahul committed a suicide. So guys, this is what a dangling modifier is, and that's how we correct a dangling modifier, right? I explained everything that you guys should know. Still, if you have any questions, any queries, do let me know in the comment section below. If you liked what you just saw, give it a thumbs up, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know how's the lesson, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, that's very bad. Do that right now, okay? And I'll see you very soon. Till then, keep learning, have fun. I'm out.